Yeah, I'm your Black Lex today, baby. Now you ain't never gotta like me, that shit is overrated. You need a hero to love, I'll be the villain that you hated. When it's all said and done, you gon' love me. Me kissing babies, fucking ladies thinking of me. Cause I'm the villain, the bad guy, the one that's supposed to lose. But I'm American, baby, so the rules all skewed for me. Steal your identity, fuck up your credit for free. Police know it's stolen, but they still make you pay the fee. And you don't respect me, for real? I'm the one that's showing you what the real world is. All these backroom deals for your kids' future. My financial aid hustle keep your kids mooching. And why you motherfuckers still stupid? The Statue of Liberty married the country, divorced and now the bitch still moving. With half of the money, alimony, child support. You know what's up when I be winning in the court, cause I'm the villain, the bad guy, the numero uno, the one that y'all hate to see. Cause I'm the big dog, the head honcho, H&I-C, everybody wants to be. Damn right, I'm the villain, the bad guy, the numero uno, the one that y'all hate to see. Cause I'm the big dog, the head honcho, H&I-C, everybody wants to be. They try to tell me thou shalt not steal. In the same church they tell me Jesus white, is they for real? They try to say the land of the free, minus the slavery, plus the fact that you pay for land these folks stole for free. And you wanna be Superman. Did you forget that Lex Luthor became the president? You lacking common sense, that's why the villain lives. That's why the villain's right. They turn on Superman, man, they turn on Jesus Christ. Even the devil got teams like Arizona State, Duke, the state of Jersey. That man say you're sold and he can't get a jersey. Y'all go to church on Sunday and you claim you're worthy. That's why I got my credit and I'm charging 10%. You finish paying me and you gon' pay me triple, bitch. So why'd I be a hero when a villain gets paid? And women like paid, so the villain gets laid. So I'ma be the villain, the bad guy, the numero uno, the one that y'all hate to see. Cause I'm the big dog, the head honcho, H&I-C, everybody wants to be. Damn right, I'm the villain, the bad guy, the numero uno, the one that y'all hate to see. Cause I'm the big dog, the head honcho, H&I-C, everybody wants to be.
All right, fam, what's happening? L.A.R. movement still moving. Y'all have seen brothers talk about these things today. Truth teller, what's up? You know, it's all good. So when it comes to a lot of the brothers were talking about the thing with Torre and the college thing and Yvette Carnell. I saw, BGS talk about it. I saw, I saw it this morning with Mr. Z. Then, I saw some things about, the whole Anthony Edwards situation on a different platform on social media. And then I saw some other things. Now, what I'm about to say is going to sound contradictory right now, but there was a white kid that got killed. His name is Austin Metcalf. So rest in peace to him, man. We talk crazy about the girl that hit the girl upside the head with the at the track meet with the baton, but this kid was in a track meet and got into a fight over a seat with a young black dude, and the kid stabbed him in the heart and he died. That is senseless, stupid. The young kid probably gonna get life, and hey, that's what it is. But like I said, that's contradictory to the topic, but I just wanted to say that. But ultimately, I get into this conversation about this. A lot of times, you hear BGS talking about it's always Jermaine's fault, right? You hear, Roger talking about it. You hear a lot of brothers talking about it, and even in the Black Manosphere, you hear Edward talking about it. This always backfires, and I'm gonna tell you a bunch of different reasons why always blaming black men for stuff is backfiring more and more and more. And the number one reason really is social media. That's the number one reason. Like, you can't keep blaming people for all of these ills of the world when you don't have the video to back it up anymore. You don't have the statistics to back it up anymore. And what I mean is, people like to use the word YNs. I'm talking about grown men right now. Grown men, not young, not teenagers, right? And when I say social media, here's the difference. You're not gonna see videos, just a bunch of videos of grown black men getting in fights outside of a nightclub, getting in fights in the middle of the street in the middle of the night, getting in fights in apartment complexes, getting in fights in neighborhoods, like running, like trying to run over people with cars and that type of stuff. You get what I'm saying? But you see it a lot on social media. You don't really have to, once you find one story, the algorithm kind of just funnels you to it. You see it a lot. And the thing that goes on with all of these things is this. It's not the fact that all of this stuff is happening. You know what I'm saying? It's not the fact that these things are happening. It's the fact that nobody gets charged for this stuff. Nobody really goes to jail behind this stuff. Nobody really has and I'll say it this way. You don't see young ladies who are, let's just say, single mothers. You don't see them losing their kids behind this type of stuff. You don't see them losing their jobs behind this type of stuff. You get what I'm saying? So you blaming black men for things, but what you're seeing is too many of our women that are grown, not the teenage girls, not, I'm not going to do that. I'm not, you're seeing too many grown women doing things that's like, yo, we got a problem. We got a problem out here, So, and like Troy said, he see no problem with blaming black men. That's another thing, though. That's why it kind of backfires with people, because people start blaming black men for stuff that black men aren't around for. People blame black men because it's black men become the easiest person to blame for your own dysfunction. You get what I'm saying? So if you doing something out of pocket, people are accustomed to that. Let's just blame a black man, and it's like, yeah, it don't work as well as it used to because of social media. I get it. It doesn't work as well because of social media. Because if a black person did it, if a black man did it, you should be able to see him, hear him, this, that, and the third. You should be able to see. So now we have that. And, then I'm going to change a little bit. They're black men, because I talked about I talked about some of that, like Big U situation in a different video with these rappers and these people in the rap industry and these people who want to be gang bangers, at old ages, getting in trouble, right? And usually those are the, because I saw the little incident, out here in Houston with the Sauce Walker thing, and a young brother that died in Memphis, and then the other person that was the quote unquote shooter died in Houston, which doesn't make sense to me, but I'm gonna stay out of that. But here's the other thing, and the reason why I bring people like Sauce Walker up is he's a grown man. They're in a rap industry or whatever, but it's not the rap industry that's the problem. It's this wanting to be a gangster thing, right? Wanting to be a thug, just wanting to be in the streets all the time, right? That's the issue. So the problem with that is there really is no middle ground with that. So if you got grown men still in the streets trying to be gangsters or playing gangster, one of the issues that people have with this, and even why that backfires, is because on one end, people want to be around those people because they glorify them for their IQ, which I don't understand. Their business savvy, which I don't understand that either. And because they're usually blowing money and bad with money and materialistic. It's usually a fast life. And that's what people really want. They just want to be a part of their fast life. So when you say, oh, my life is like this because of, Jermaine is always in the streets or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's the same Jermaine that you decided that you didn't want to get a job for. You get what I'm saying? Like, you could have worked, you could have did something with yourself, but you decided not to because I'm a run with the fast life, whether it be men or women, right? So then it backfires because people look at you like that was not a good idea to begin with. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't a good idea. And using and extending that to the recent death of what is the dude's name in Atlanta? Young Scooter, and a young woman talking about, I think they arrested him. She basically set the guy up and swatted him, right? And for people who come across this at some time, they don't know what swatted is. That's when people just call the police on somebody and just be outrageous in hopes that, when you swat somebody, you're expecting the police to go guns blazing. They're not really going to ask any questions. They're coming like SWAT, like, let's break the door down, let's shoot it up. We got stuff going on, right? So the issue is, and that's why I say why blaming black men backfires, is the arrogance of that situation. The young lady gets caught. Well, not say she feels, quote, she's trying to cover her behind by getting on a live and telling people, hey man, this not what it was, and I didn't mean to do that. I ain't mean for him to die. And it's like, here's a problem. You see how once again y'all playing games with people and playing games with people's lives, but you feel like but you're doing it from the vantage point of, if he died, my bad. Oops. I just wanted to lie on him. I ain't want y'all to kill him. Well, I should just be able to go home now. And now she going to jail. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna go light on her. And they're gonna go light on her as far as how she should be sentenced, right? So after a while, people start looking at this stuff like, you know what? It's a problem. It's a problem. Now, and I get into that part too. A lot of that. This is another thing about like what A is talking about the Highlander syndrome. Does it exist? Was it given a name back in the day? Yeah. But here's the other problem with that, and this is why I say it always backfires. That is not particular to just black men. I know people want to say, there can only we fight because there can only be one. In all honesty, if you've been on YouTube long enough, you've seen kind of both parts. You've seen a bunch of groups, even in the manosphere, whether it's the black manosphere, whether it's the white manosphere. You've seen people's egos, blow up the spot, and you've seen people come together and help each other. You've seen both. The issue becomes over time, though, and this is the issue kind of with why it doesn't, like I said, why blaming black men backfires is because people have their blinders on. Like when black men actually do the opposite of the stereotype, people turn into Stevie Wonder, people turn into Ray Charles. I don't remember seeing that. I didn't. They become, what is that when you lose your memory? They Alzheimer's patients. I didn't remember that. I didn't see that. I didn't know. I mean, who did that? When did they do that? They did that right at the same time that you said black men don't do that. There was a black man who was doing that. Oh, I just didn't know. I didn't pay attention. That, and what happens is, and this is why I go back to the social media, other people have started paying attention to that pattern also. There are people in the black community, outside the black community, that are that, but the difference is when other groups of people do something positive, people see it and they remember it. When black men do something positive, people they don't see it, they don't remember it. So at a certain point, it becomes, you know, the stereotype was beating, your what was really happening. So now when people go, yo, who you gonna believe, the stereotype or your lying eyes? It's like, I actually can put up video of people doing exactly what you said people wasn't doing. And then it's like, but it still exists. And that's the thing. The bad stereotypes do still exist. But black men don't have to be perfect because nobody else has to be perfect. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like at some point that mentality is going to change. But I think it's hard for that mentality to change because that would mean you'll see everybody in whether no matter, race, religion, gender, you'll see their hypocrisy too. And you actually have to grade it on what it actually is. And people don't really want to do that right now. That's just, that's part of the issue. But part of why I'm saying, why it keeps back, like with black men, everything can't be our fault. It keeps backfiring because people they're not getting real world scenarios that are matching the height, the stereotypes that have been passed down and the stereotypes that are current right now. It's just the stereotype that's living. What's going on? So now this ain't just a black woman thing, though, fam. I get it, but now we have that issue, and the reason why I say that is because when I brought up the other thing with when seeing grown adults doing out of pocket stuff. Let me rewind this. Let me rewind this and say it this way. Right. So now, I saw the situation with Anthony Edwards. I didn't really know the whole situation, but then, and just ride with me on what I'm about to say. So basically, Anthony Edwards, just in my opinion, he had a fetish for smashing celebrities' baby mamas, and the way it looks, right? He had it's who baby mama? Ooh, he messing with her. I want to hit it too. That's how it looks. And then he gets a couple of them chicks pregnant, right? And they try to play him. So basically, this woman basically said, she said, give me 100,000, for an abortion, right? And then she's like, nah, she pockets the 100 grand and she has the baby. And now people's like, man, the guy's like a deadbeat. Like I don't want forget you and that baby. And then, lo and behold, they say he just pays out the child support 18 years straight out the gate. I'm done. Now people have this conversation about, well, can he really be a deadbeat if he already paid it? He didn't pay it out, so she shouldn't ask him for nothing. And then they had another conversation of people know that this young lady is going to go blow through that money in 3 to 5 years and try to go back to court and ask for an increase and ask for some help because she's bad with money, which is a normal thing. But another part of this conversation that hasn't been had yet is, ain't it funny how, if the court really don't care about visitation, as been saying for years, the court don't say, Mr. Edwards, you said F them kids and F that girl. Yep. Here's the money. Well, we'll just take the money, sir. We're gonna take the money. Well, we'll take the money. We're not gonna get involved in this parenting thing because that's all we were here for. So in essence, it also put the court on blast. Because, the court ain't about the best interest of the child. The court didn't put in the paperwork, man, we're going to force you to be around your baby. No, the court didn't do that. The court said, hey, man, you got cash? We got cash, debit. Would you Zelle? You going to PayPal this money? Cool. So now, what happens is the extreme situations, that you can put out of black men when they're put out in public, they don't just put black men on blast. They put everybody else on blast too. You get what I'm saying? Because in that situation, like I said, people, mark my words, in 3 to 5 years, you're gonna hear the story of this. I don't have no money, and people gonna go, you just got $1 million 3 years ago. Yeah, what are we talking about? You get what I'm saying? You're gonna have that over and over again, right? So it starts, all of the negativity backfires. And one of the major reasons that is, if you always say something negative about a person or a group of people is always negative, if that group isn't trying to go, hey man, listen, I'm trying to change the stereotype. And here's where things have changed. You know, Elon ain't a deadbeat either. He just gave him money. That's what he does. Hey, impregnated you, give him money. It's like this part of it is, you know, people are out here having babies with rich men for a paycheck. And we overlook how, you know, the guy's a deadbeat for having, you know, he for having multiple kids with multiple women. That's what that becomes. But if he's rich and he has multiple kids with multiple women, yeah, I get it. If he's rich and he has multiple kids with multiple women, then it's like, hey man, everybody got their piece of the pie. And it's like, oh, okay, this is a classic, you know, that fake mafia thing. I gotta get a taste. I gotta get a piece. You created something on your own and it makes money, so I gotta get 5% off the top for doing absolutely nothing out of respect. And it's like, no, you're just a leech. That's all you are. You're just a leech. But you know, this is part of the story, like I was saying about the negativity. When you got this negativity going and you constantly put people in a negative. I can say this, you know, as a black man, there comes a point, you know, you might be a young teenager or a young black man, like in your, you know, late teens, early 20s, maybe mid 20s, when you're trying to prove to everybody, I'm not like the stereotype. But when you become a grown black man, you're like, man, you can shove that stereotype where the sun don't shine. I really don't care. So what winds up happening is, you have these conversations, you know, with black people, with white people, you know, hey man, you know, with black people, with white people, you know, Asians, Hispanics, you know, they give you that, well, you're not like the rest of them. It's like, bro, y'all don't even be around black people. You don't know what the rest of us like anyways. But you get older, you start dating, you know, you're dating black women. Oh, you're not like the other men. And it's like, I'm not trying to hear that. It don't make sense now, because people are so, a lot of times the negativity that's the stereotype of black men in particular, people want to stick to the negativity, but when they grown, they don't really run into it. They really don't. If you're in a situation where you're running into a black man who fits every negative stereotype, I can tell you right now, you are somewhere you don't need to be. And the fact that you're there means you're participating. You're not a helpless victim. Like, you're one of them people that go to the gas station at 11 o'clock at night in the hood where all the robbers at, and got to look around your shoulder just in case it go down. It's like, no, you shouldn't even be at the gas station at 11:30 at night. You're grown. You should be smarter than that, especially in the hood. But let me guess, you don't want to tell nobody you out here trying to buy some dope. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's that type of thing. You know, so now people don't have started to care less. You know, being dumb. Yeah, I saw that video. So now, you got these guys who are like, man, I could care less about this. Like, I don't care about your stereotype. I'm one of the good ones. And it's like, you ain't ran into the bad ones. I know you ain't ran into the bad ones, because you keep talking about I'm one of the good ones. I'm gonna punch you in the face for the disrespect. And people sometimes think that people have this violent demeanor because we're supposed to be docile. No, you're not gonna disrespect all the people that I know by saying I'm one of the good ones. You don't know all the people I know. You just saying that. I know a whole lot of cowards of other races. I don't walk around them and go, you know what? You're one of the ones that's not a coward. You're one of the ones that's not a snake. You're one of the ones that's not a broad at heart. You're not one of you don't remind me of one of the ones that start a fight to call the cops and play victim. You're one of the stand-up ones. It's like, because we're not having them conversations like that. But let me, add some more context to this conversation. This is another reason why this backfires. Like with the Toure thing, and black men aren't going to college, and you should go to college, and more black women are going to college than black men. And it's like, listen, bro, I'm gonna tell you why this backfires. Because all of you educated people should know this already. You're the same educated group of people that were saying, college has become, astronomically expensive for no reason, that the degrees have not been, don't translate. And now you might be wasting 40, 60, 80, $100,000 going to the particular schools. And, you can say you got a degree there, but it doesn't add up to the job you got. Oh, these are the same educated people saying this stuff, right? It was the same people who went to school who told you might want to, sometimes it might be better to get a trade or get a certification. These are educated people saying this. And a person like Toure, bro, you was doing hip hop blogs. You get what I'm saying? Journalism, hip hop blogs. Okay, so it wasn't like he was, he was doing like the Washington Post or CNBC. No. He was doing rap beefs. He was doing rap beefs. So that's the part of the educational part, right? And but if I'm not mistaken, Toure was one of the people that was egging on the Biggie Tupac thing as a journalist back in the day. So it ain't just, about being a DNC shield. It's, this idea of, I think that's the underbelly of him as a journalist, if I'm not mistaken, because he goes that far back. But when it comes to the other part of the education thing, these guys aren't going to school, and these guys are doing this, and these guys are doing that. And it's like, well, here's the thing. You've already said, all you educated folks, there's a school or prison pipeline, a school or prison pipeline. We've been saying that for years, right? So, hello, like common sense would tell you that if you believe there's a school or prison pipeline, it was affecting the boys predominantly. So why would the boys be so happy to go to school? They wouldn't. If the school was preparing them to go to prison, let me back up out of here. But these are the same educated people who play this game like, I don't understand. I can't put it in context. And this is why I said backfires. Because somehow, all these contextual things, or you got the whole picture of what's going on with black boys and black men, and then you try to slice it down into pieces like you don't know anything. She said, I don't know what that got to do with what I'm talking about, and even that, what, let's go with that. This just because why I say blaming black men backfires. Black men, most of the people living at home with their moms are usually teenagers. Usually, now there's some exceptions to the rule where they had these grown suckers who still at home, but the vast majority of people is either teenagers or people around college age that either military, college, or trade school. It's not really a bunch of grown men running around living with their mamas. It's not really. But on the flip side, in our community, nobody says it the other way, because it's a lot of grown women living with their mom, and we've seen that growing up as a child. You see as a grown man. You see how like it's somehow it's different, but it's really not. And it happens more with the females than it does the men. So it's like, and this is why, like I said, this is why it backfires, because people have started to um, the stereotypes don't beat the reality, and more people know the reality now. So to find, it's crazy, but that's part of the issue. That's the stereotype part. The stereotype part is, hey, there's not, you know, there's not for every, like, when you say that, let's just do it to 10. For every one man, there's 10 women. No, it's you know, it's close enough to 1 for 1, but it's just like everybody doesn't want to admit which one they are. You get what I'm saying? So if you're a 5 and they're a 5, that's a 1 for 1. You got 2 5s talking to each other. But people want to be like, this person's a 5, but I'm a 5, but I'm searching for a 9. That's why you by yourself. It ain't got nothing to do with, there not being people out here. No. You want something that you ain't even in the ballpark of. So you would rather be with something that's above you than something that you're on the same level of. Cool. Have at it. And this is how you get all of these situations, because a lot of people just live in a fantasy. That's pretty much what's going on. A lot of people are just living a fantasy. One day, I'm gonna get this 8, 9, or 10 one day. So I'm gonna just hold out. And you've seen and let me do this way, because I'm gonna be fair, and this is why I say it backfires. For the ladies who have that idea, you're seeing women in their 60s, 50s, 40s, and 30s on a regular basis. It didn't work out for them. That same logic didn't work out for them. But everybody else, but you in your 20s and you like, I'm different. The people in their 30s thought they was different. The people in their 40s thought they was different. The people in their 50s thought they was different. And now you got, Vivica Fox getting a BBL. You should understand at some point, maybe, just maybe, we tripping. And that's why I say, even in the relationship part, this is why blaming black men backfires. Because even when the relationship dynamic comes around, that people aren't actually, just because you're saying lies all the time, it doesn't mean people believe the lies. People had that once, where the lies, you could lie and people actually believe you. And now people are skeptical. And that's all you need. You don't need people to say you're a liar. All you need is skepticism. And now you see people being skeptical, and they're like, you know what? I ain't really buying it all the way. So now, all these lies of these guys, it don't add up. It really don't add up. So, and this is why, we're going to get into this other part about, why blaming black men, why blaming black men backfires. See, the statistics, as soon as Kevin Samuels started bringing out them statistics for people, it really messed with people's heads, because all these black men are making babies everywhere. Then there's a lot. You had people that was even in the black manosphere and hovering around the black manosphere, apart, who believe, black men just having babies and being irresponsible. And then they started looking at the statistics, and it's like, wait a minute, this don't add up. And it's like, yeah, it didn't add up the whole time. You get what I'm saying? Like, it didn't add up the whole time. So the statistics made you go, gave people pause to go, okay, wait. The numbers got me messed up right now. I don't know what's going on. It's like, how you don't know what's going on? Let me guess. You bought into it too, because they're black men who believe the stereotypes about black men. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But that's the thing. Like, his life and death is an example of what I'm talking about. Blaming black men backfires. Because what happened? Oh, he was blowing up. Oh, he's effeminate. Oh, he's gay. Oh, he don't like women. Oh, oh, he's divisive. Oh, he hates black women. He hates the community. He's been dead a few years now, and it seemed like he was right. We knew he was right, though. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be honest. We knew he was right, but all of a sudden, life got to teach the lesson. It's like, man, he was really right. So if he's right, if he's right now, years after he died, what does that tell you about other black men you know? There have been plenty of black men in your life that have been right about things, and guess what? You didn't listen to them because they was black men. They was black men. Like, he black. He don't know what he talking about. He old. He too old. He too young. He think he's smart. He's stupid. He whatever, right? Hey man. By the way, I super. I know I wrote a book about that whole situation in court. But even before, but shout out to Kevin, rest in peace to Kevin. Even shout out to Tommy, like, it's no hate there. But I have what is that? I have a playlist on my page, videos about like 34 videos about non-custodial father, even though I was both. I was custodial and non-custodial, so that's a whole nother story. But getting back to what I was saying about it keeps backfiring because there were so many black men in people's lives that you didn't listen to, and I've seen this so many times in life where I've seen, whether it be black people, black men, black women, I've seen people, white, Asian, Hispanic, Arab, Muslim, Christian, Asian. I've seen this happen a lot. Like the person everybody doesn't want to listen to the most is the black men. And then they'll say, look, we need to do X, Y, and Z, or you need to do X, Y, and Z. That's what you want to do there. I get what you're saying, but that's not going to work. You're going to have to do this because right now you're going in this direction, and if you keep going this way, this is going to happen. And everybody does the same thing. Oh, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And people are loud in their disrespect to black men, or even not even just disrespect, just dismissiveness, just dismissing black men, right? And then all of a sudden, they're real quiet in the I told you, when we could tell you I told you so. They're real quiet. They're real humbled, and they're real like, what did you tell me like 6 months ago when I was like, you don't know what you're talking about? Bro, 6 months ago, I told you something a week ago. Like, 6 months ago, I don't know. I told you a lot of things 6 months ago. You didn't listen to none of them. So which one is the one that's biting you in the behind now? Okay, remember when you told me that? Oh, yeah. It happened, right? Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It also backfires. Yeah, it brings crickets. It also backfires like, well, I told you that already. Now you're already in that situation. I can't help you get out of that one. But I can tell you one other thing. You remember all them other situations I told you was probably going to happen? If you kept doing that, yeah, you better watch out for them too now. What do you mean? Watch out for that other stuff I told you. What stuff? Right. You don't remember the other stuff I told you because you didn't listen to me because I was a black man 6 months ago. So you didn't listen to me about all the other stuff that I told you is connected to that stuff, the stuff that you just got yourself in now. Yeah, like, bro, you just gonna have this is gonna be difficult for you. This is gonna be difficult for you. So it's like, all right, it is what it is. I've seen people in what you would consider management, just corporate positions. Like I've seen this too many times. You bring in all these other people and they all know what they're doing, but they all don't know what they're doing. And then you bring a black man in to clean it up, and then you ship them off after everything is done. You get what I'm saying? The white guy knows what he's doing. The Hispanic guy knows what he's doing. The Asian guy knows what he's doing. The white woman knows what she's doing. The Hispanic woman knows what she's doing. The Asian woman knows what she's doing. Yeah. And they all screw up. Even the black woman knows what she's doing. They all screw up. Then they bring a black guy to fix it in like 3 to 6 months, and then they ship him off like he doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, he fixed everything. I understand. Interesting, ain't it? You know, somehow all of these people, y'all don't understand how all these people's businesses are really popping off, and y'all don't understand how, the reason why people's businesses work is because of the employees. And usually your hardest workers and your most underserved workers and unappreciated and underpaid workers are normally black men. Everybody else does the, let me go up the totem pole and reach for the stars and go this way and go that way and do this and do that, because I can climb the corporate ladder. And it's like, and the brothers know I can't climb the corporate ladder. I didn't apply for that job 75 times. Yeah, I know more than all y'all, but that's not what y'all want. So what they do is they get a bunch of brothers to do some stuff because they're the consistent workforce, and to be a good manager or supervisor in corporate America, you need them brothers, on that lower rung doing the actual work because they're dependable. See, you see how that goes? And you see it even now with Hispanics. And what I mean is, people talked all that stuff about Hispanics. We got to get them out the country, immigration, yada yada yada. Cool, do whatever you want. But I've seen it, from landscaping and construction, to what do you call that? Farming, but just regular maintenance of the society, infrastructure. I've seen a horde of fat white dudes just walking around doing nothing. Fat old ones, fat young ones, just walking around doing nothing. Well, the Mexicans that y'all was talking crazy and y'all said they were stupid because they do all the work. They good workers, but they not that bright. Now I gotta, it was 10 Mexican dudes getting this job done and one white dude walking around, pull up in the truck and run around and then leave. Now it's 3-4 white dudes just walking around for 8 hours doing nothing. I thought you was good at I thought y'all was good at all this stuff. And all they thinking, well, we got to get them Mexicans back. And how did that start? Prior to that, black men were in trades heavily. And guess who they didn't want to pay? Black men. So that's how you got, all of these quote unquote just illegals doing all of this construction work and landscaping. All that. That's how you got that situation. That's how you got that. So now, do you want to pay the brothers that you ran off? No, you don't. So some of these businesses are in flux right now. But this is what I mean by blaming black men backfires. It backfires because this, you swore that, if these people had, can control control everything in society, it was going to function well. Guess what? It's not. It's not. And who's to blame now? Nobody wants to take the blame now, right? Which is very, very normal. So then we had this other thing, and this is a little bit, to me, this is pathetic, but it is what it is. So one of the other things, like when we talk about, when I talked about the raising, the let's just say the culture, the community, blaming black men backfires even in the parenting aspect, because the old thing where, the fathers went out and get cigarettes and went out for milk and never came back. The dad got, a family over here and a family over there, and he don't take care of the kids. Dad's a deadbeat, blah, 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 right? Dad don't take care of the kid, right? Now what you're starting to see is, that stereotype really died. It didn't die down, but on one hand, on one hand, like 50, somebody, I think 50, 1 to 54% of black men don't have kids. So that's an issue. And then you don't have as many actual deadbeats in the world as you think, especially as black men. You don't. Because even when people like to even use the family courts and the child support stuff, they group it off like, by group who pays the most. Even if you own child support, who does it the most consistent? It's black men normally. Some years it may be different, but normally, even when it comes to the child support thing, black men are more consistent paying than any other group. So even when the system is on your head, brothers are still more consistent at it. You get what I'm saying? So that's another thing. Then there was the CDC, black fathers are most involved, which, some people could take it with a grain of salt, some people can't. It is what it is. But the problem becomes what? You said the guys, were deadbeats, but what it wound up being was, predominantly mothers, single mothers and single mothers, immediate family, their moms, their dads, siblings and all that. They were control freaks. So they controlled access to the kid. And you see that now even on social media. So now, people are looking at it like, nah, we can't blame the men no more. Because I've said this before, the men had to fight the court. The men had to fight the school system because a lot of the schools was in on it. Like, hey, dad can't come. And to the point where, now you have a society where, people already know the court's full of it. You get what I'm saying? You have a society where the schools are looking at the kids now like, yeah, these kids out of pocket because of their mama. Yeah, that's what this is now. Because, a lot of people forgot, they started giving the parents dress codes. You can't come to school this way and that way. And I remember this because it wasn't that long ago. It was a few years ago. Even this dress code went from schools and it went to restaurants and all that other stuff. A lot of what they did, especially in the black community, they just added black men to it to make it look fair. And what I mean is this: no bonnets and no pajamas. And then there's like no do-rags, no sagging pants. And it's like, listen, you're not finna, I hate to break news to you. You ain't finna get too many men coming to your school with a do-rag on and sagging his pants. Cause the kids, cause the dudes is grown. They probably coming from work. Hate to break the news to you. They're not just finna show up, looking, in a wife beater and some basketball shorts and some flip-flops with a do-rag on and a cigarette in his mouth like a 1990s movie or rap video. You get what I'm saying? That's not finna happen. But it was the same thing with the restaurants. Don't come like this, because they needed to make an equivalent because the ladies were so out of pocket in how they were conducting themselves in public. So the stereotype they were using with black men, don't come like this, don't do that. It was like, bro, that's a dress code we don't really have anymore. I know that dress code. That was like late 90s, early 2000s. And it ain't really early 2000s because in the late 90s, we was, to the 2000s, people started wearing big clothes and big oversized shirts to cover up you seeing us sagging. It's crazy. Yeah, like no leggings, but the equivalent would be no what for men. You get what I'm saying? It's crazy. But it started backfiring because it's not there is no equivalent for us like that because we're not actually going out like that. So now it's like, what are we going to tell the guys? You can't tell, because we were getting kicked out of, look, man, we were getting not allowed in places because we wore sneakers in a cap. That was what that was. We were kicked out of places when I was a young man. If I had a baseball cap on or, a cap with any sport team on it and a pair of sneakers, I could have on jeans. I could have on a button-up shirt, because that was the Jay-Z button-up era was a thing too. You get what I'm saying? But if you had the hat on and some sneakers on, hey brother, you can't get in, brother, because it's a strict dress code. And the strict dress code is black men can't wear sneakers and ball caps, but everybody else can. That's how it was. Nightclubs, restaurants, that's how it was. So a lot of brothers just stopped going places. Like, man, I ain't finna, because we got tired of getting to that conversation. I remember there was a video with RDC World when they when they was faking like they was going to a club, and it's like, oh, you can't get in with this, and they turn around, I got this now. You can't get in with that. It's like, but you black, okay? You can't get in, you're black. And it's like, why you didn't just say that? So it's different now. This is why I say blaming black men backfires, because you blame us for stuff that it doesn't even fit anymore. Now the other part is gonna get interesting. So yeah, I'm about to be trifling. I'm about to be trifling. We also got blamed. We're blamed for the political climate sometimes. And, one of the things about being a black man in America, people try to interject us into stuff that we ain't got nothing to do with. So now you're looking at American society and you're like, okay, America is $37 trillion in debt. Is that a black man's fault? No. All the stuff that's going on, that's going on right now with, in the Trump presidency, is that a black man's fault? A black man's fault? No. Everything that was going on in Joe Biden's administration, was that black man's fault? No. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of what's happening now to America, and why people are so mad, the downfall of America, and America is crumbling, and America is crashing, and America is losing its steam, and America is a fallen empire, ain't got nothing to do with black men. See, people focused on black men so long, and that's even part of the racism aspect of America. Y'all didn't pay attention to the people who you put in all these powerful positions being idiots, because guess what? As long as they didn't like black men, and y'all could, I don't like them blacks, and we don't like them blacks, you didn't realize that your senators and your representatives was illiterate. They can't read. You didn't realize that they were dumb. You didn't realize that they were getting paid off to make dumb decisions by other corporations. The corporations run America. Who fault is that? Who like, is that our fault? No. That's not our fault. Because see, now, you get the blacks tried to warn us. The black people tried to warn us. What? What you mean the black people tried to warn you? Oh, what are you talking about? You mean the ones that were beneath you that are not smart enough? Because I remember, I'm 45. I know this all too well when people go, oh, you don't know how sophisticated the system is. You don't understand these business tactics and these acquisitions. You don't get these policies because it's just above your Negro brain. And it's like, oh, okay, okay, all right. Okay, you're right. Yeah, because somehow y'all got this magical way that y'all gonna wave a wand and go, all of these mistakes I made are just gonna magically get fixed because I failed my way to the top. Yeah. I made a bad deal and 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 a bad deal, and voila, we're getting a booming economy because of it. Okay, guess it didn't work the way you thought, huh? So now, you have this climate with politics where, when I say politics, I really mean just America in general, where America don't know who to blame because it can't blame white folks. It just can't do it. Man, Tony, man, thanks, man. It just can't do it. It's like, oh, I can't say we're stupid. That's why you get this. It's the liberals. It's the conservatives. That's why people are going back. And they even getting black people to fall for this. Oh man, look. It's the Democrats are the party of what is it? The Democrats were the party of the Klan, and they kept you oppressed. And it's like, bro, that's white people on both sides. It was white people was Democrats. It was white people that was Republicans. It was the white people that was independents. It was the white people that was the Whigs back in the day. It was just white people. But during slavery, it was the good white people. Shut up. Now it's like all this blaming, it backfired. And the reason I'm saying it backfires because, and I brought politics into it, and I started with social media. And one of the things that happens is, politics, social media, and celebrity kind of work hand in hand, right? And what you're seeing is over and over and over and over again. I sound like Marshawn Lynch right now. You're seeing something happen with a black man. People just jump on a bandwagon of, let's throw him under the bus. And then after the fact, because it used to take years and years and years for people to go, you know what? That don't make sense. I already said, we already threw this person under the bus. They guilty, they evil, da 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 da. Now it's starting not to make sense. Because now people are starting to go, they're starting to ask questions and put two and two together. What I mean is, so this black dude right here is a bad person because we got a story about him, and everybody go, yeah. It's like, okay. So what about all these other people that participated? Yeah. Email Doka. That's the same thing. He was screwing somebody's wife. Who? Some lily white lady. And okay. What she look like? We don't know. We have no pictures. But it ain't just email Doka. Think about it. Jonathan Majors got a movie out right now. Jonathan Majors, he got dropped from Marvel because he was an abuser, but you got a video of him running down the street away from this crazy chick. And people can't, the driver says, no, it was her. The police got to say it was her. The cameras say she was out of pocket. But Jonathan Majors black, so let's just blame him, guys. And then people go, he fell from Hollywood success because of da 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 da. And then people got to look at this and go, this is stupid. This is stupid. You get what I'm saying? I can even use the, how can I say this? People don't like, I've used an example plenty of times. I don't even want to do it, but they can't control the narrative. Yeah. And people forget about that. Because what happens in America right now is people see, if you have social media now, you can see the narrative and the counter narrative now. That's why what people do now is they try to lie to you about the past. See, now they try to lie to you about the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, Jim Crow. They try to lie to you about that stuff because the stuff that they're talking about right now, they really ain't got a real answer for. They really don't. That's why, OJ did it. Let's talk about the whole case. He's guilty. Why? Because we made a show about it. That's it. Because I was alive when the trial happened. And I know exactly what happened. It didn't make no sense. The cop planted evidence to make it look like he did it. You know what the real problem was? The real problem for the OJ trial is y'all didn't like seeing black people celebrating. Teachers didn't like that. I was in high school. The teachers didn't like that, whether it was high school or grade school, because we had to watch the dang on trial in school. They was using it as a lesson to put you Negroes in line when we was in school. I went to, look at the trial. Like, what are we looking at the trial for when we supposed to be learning? But then when he got found out guilty, them teachers didn't like that. We failing these Negroes left and right. I remember him cheering when OJ trial. I remember the pictures of the blacks jumping up when OJ got found out guilty. We hate him. We hate him. We hate him. We failing everybody. Like, okay. That's what that was about. That's what that was about. You know. That's the same thing with R. Kelly. That is the same thing with R. Kelly. Probably should have went to jail for peeing on a little girl, but hey, we were stepping in the name of love. But that's but you know what? I'm gonna tell you what's different about the R. Kelly thing. And this is 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, predominantly this happened. Young girls would mess with grown men on a regular basis. And I used to say that, like, if you look at a lot of the 90s movies, you would see girls in high school with grown men. You saw it in He Got Game, you saw it in Belly, you saw it in Sunset Park, you saw it in Love and Basketball, because people forget. So now Lathan was going to the prom with what's your boy, Boris Kojo. You get what I'm saying? That was a normal thing. Like, people forget that. Like, in the 2000s, they had they had that rule where you couldn't be over a certain age taking a girl to prom because it was so normalized. So that was the issue back then. And it wasn't a thing where girls were being taken advantage of. No, they were dating. They knew exactly what they was on back then. That's the whole, dating a drug dealer thing and dating a working guy thing and dating a college guy and dating a military guy. That was in Soul Food. That was in Soul Food. That was part of the whole. Like, a lot of those movies had that portrayal in it. But now you blaming black men, and it's a problem. That's why every now and then I would even bring up the Diddy thing. It's like, y'all talking about baby oil, blah blah, juice. Yep. I forgot about that, but it was, you're right. It was a normal thing going on. Normal. It was normal. So now we have this issue where, people are trying to change the past because it's hard to change the present. That's why, like I said, when I brought up the thing just now with Diddy, it's like the best we got right now is making jokes about baby oil. We don't like Diddy because of baby oil. Like, I mean, in your right mind, just honestly, just go, okay, we're going to convict somebody because we said they had a gang of baby oil. That's what we doing. And this is what I said, like, why blaming black men backfires, because this goes back to the whole, is it Brandon Banks? I want to say the brother that played in the NFL, they made the movie about him. When a girl lied and said she assaulted him and sued the high school in California. And then, and he went to prison about it, and he got out, and she admitted it and all that. What winds up happening is, and this is why I say blaming black men backfires, is because you have America is part of the problem from Jim Crow all the way to basically the 2000s. You have stories of black men that got put in janky situations for dumb reasons. Brian Banks, that's his Brian. I was about to say Brandon, but you got all the way from the birth of a nation, the original, just black men out here chasing white women. Stop it. You know what I'm saying? All the way, let me think, because Brian Banks was a 2000 and something story. Fruitville Station was a 2000 and something story. You know what I'm saying? You got these stories over and over and over again that you could just put on film to the point where it's ridiculous now, and people go, what's the real reason this happened? And everybody has a dumb reason. And that's what really the problem is. That's the real problem. So now you're looking at people's logic over extended periods of time and go, yeah, man, these people stupid. Yeah, it's not even close. These people stupid. Because now it's like, I can't, what are we doing? What are we doing? And nobody can explain it at this point. Nobody can explain, people have a hatred. Cool, you can have a hatred. But before I stutter again, let me rewind this. College, let's take this college thing. Colleges used to have, like, spring break just happened, right? And when I was in college, when I finished college, it was the early 2000s. So I know, and a lot of people who've been to college, they know what I'm talking about with this, especially from the South to the East Coast. There's a lot of HBCUs, right? Historically Black colleges. And historically Black colleges would have their spring breaks. And this is what I mean, it backfires. What used to happen was, and I'm gonna add this to the political part too. What happened was this: white college would have a spring break and wild out. It wouldn't be on the news, but when Black spring break was next week, oh, we gotta have the news, we gotta have the police, we gotta have helicopters, we gotta have the dogs. There was I remember, and this even goes for, being Black at a predominantly white college. Because I remember years and years ago on YouTube, they had a thing that happened at, I want to say USC. I want to say it's either USC or UCLA, but I want to say it was USC. So it was kids was graduating. It was Black kids everybody was graduating. So the white kids threw a party, graduation party. So they threw this party, nothing going down. Like across the street in a different apartment complex, the Black kids threw a party for graduating. And they called the cops and they had the helicopters out and the police. So the Black kids ran to the white kids' party to get away from the cops. You get what I'm saying? And what they would, and this was, and they were filming the cops in the helicopters, outside of, hovering over the Black kids' party. I want to say it was USC. And the white kids are sitting there filming too, like, what the like, wait a minute, what's going on over there? Nothing. And they'd be like, nothing. They called the police on us for a party. And they're literally watching Black kids in their party at their party, filming the party that they left with the police. And they're like, what the hell's going on? It's like this, man. And the Black kids like, yeah, this is normally what goes down. This is how this happens. And they like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? It's normal. You get what I'm saying? It's normal. Right. Same thing. Some of these HBCUs in smaller towns, right? Sometimes like a secondary city, sometimes a smaller town. Give me 1 second. But say you're not from that state. So say you're in Louisiana, right? But you're not from Louisiana. And there's an election and you want to vote into the election, right? What they used to do, they'll give you a hard time for voting because you're not in your home state or city. So a way to stop you from voting was to make sure that, you couldn't vote because you're in Louisiana, but your ID says Carolina or something. Well, you have to fly to Carolina. Like, what? I can't. I'm in college. What are you talking about? Like, I'm going to fly to Carolina to vote. This is how this happens. Right. So now we have this thing where it started to backfire. It backfires over and over again. One of the things I talk about, like even using TV, like I said, TV as a reference. It's clowning about this, having a conversation about this. So people like to talk about like, American, let's just say police brutality. So I'm talking to somebody, I'm clowning about it. And I'm like, do you watch cop shows? They're like, yeah, I watch cop shows. Like, what you see is guys busting people, right? He's busting the bad guys. Like, yeah. I was like, you know what I see in cop shows? Like what? They always have episodes where the cops kill a black man. They just murdered a guy, basically. And they just all, and the black cop is just sitting there like, am I going to be black or I'm going to be blue? You know, I'm going to be black man, I'm going to be a cop. I'm going to be a black woman, I'm going to be a cop. And then they just sit there, right? And then everybody covers it up and they move on to the next episode. And then guess what? There's a white person in the exact same situation, and then they tear up the whole city to get justice. Like every cop show, damn near every cop movie, the same thing. So when you say, and I said at the same time, when you watch these shows, there's a gang of stories of corruption. So at some point, when people look at the police like sideways, people go, is it my experience? It's like, yo, look, dog, y'all did this to yourselves. Y'all having movies and television shows of y'all doing this, and the actors are like, kill him. Put your hands up. Pop, 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 pop. Why did you shoot him? I was scared. I didn't know. Cut to then you were wrong for what you did, but we're gonna cover it up. Okay? We're gonna say you're under stress, or you didn't know, or something happened and something magical happened, and you know the Snow White showed up in the 7 dwarfs, and one of the dwarfs looked black, and you shot through the dwarf, but you killed the black guy, and then the very next episode, a week later, 2 episodes later, what you gonna see? We're gonna nail you to the wall for what you're doing. Wait, what? Or the episode where, you know, the white guy has a shotgun or a knife or a semi-automatic rifle, and they're like, hey, calm down, buddy. Calm down. We're gonna be okay. We can take we don't have to go there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know you kidnapped somebody. I know you got in a bank robbery, but we I know you shot at cops earlier, but we can handle this like men. Just freeze, man. Don't do this to yourself. And then somehow nobody gets shot. It's just like, oh, wow. This is what we doing? So after a while, like I said, it backfires because people are so blatant with their hypocrisy that it's nothing to do now. It's like it has gone so far, there's nothing to do now. You get what I'm saying? Like, and this is what I mean. Let me go back to history. We got so bad that people had to trash Martin Luther King Jr. decades after he died and said he was a cheater. None of this was talked about. Mind you, you didn't hear this in the 80s. There was one scene about this in Malcolm X in the 90s in Spike Lee's movie. There was one scene. In the 2000s, about 2010s, all of a sudden, Martin Luther King and Tyler Perry movie. All of a sudden. And here's the kicker. Most people don't even know that Martin Luther King's brother got murdered after he did, because he was going to take over and be the leader of the movement at that time. Even black people, because we just don't know history. And let's not fast forward, but we went from, so we got to tarnish him, and let's also say that Malcolm X was in prison and he had a gay lover. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do that. So now it's like this stuff is backfiring because a lot of this stuff just don't make sense. It just don't. And a lot of times, people have gone so far with their shenanigans, it's nothing to be said. And I say that to say, this other part, even when it comes to, I saw a clip about, they keep telling brothers are, black men are homophobic, and we in the LGBT whatever community, the black men, they don't like the gay men. It's like, bro, cut it out. This is why this is starting to backfire, because black men who are heterosexual ain't really around gay black men. And even on social media, they make jokes about sleeping with lesbians. It's like, the girls have sneak, let's just say they sneaking some. You get what I'm saying? They have a term for it. But black men are homophobic. No, black straight men don't date gay men. Hey, I'm sorry. Oh, that's evil. Like, no, it's just black straight men don't date gay men. Sorry. Now it's becoming a problem because for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason. And a lot of y'all don't even know, a lot of that back in the day, when in the 90s, early 2000s, they were talking about the down low men and da. And now what y'all really not seeing is, even with that, basically you have a lot of, let's just say, homosexual guys on social media who are trying to look quote unquote masculine, whether they got beards, whether they doing the workout stuff, like but they're a little too, it's like, oh, okay. So nobody ever thought about, like, y'all, they just hide. They're trying to hide it behind a beard, or they're trying to hide it behind, muscles and outfits. And it's like, bro, I see it. I see. It's okay. Do your thing. So now, like I said, you blaming black men for homophobia, and it's like, no, like what you're trying to tell black men is this: if he's on Instagram looking at women, he's homophobic because he's not looking at men. If he's in life, online trying to, holler at women on Tinder or whatever, Bumble, whatever it is, right? He's wrong because he's not trying to holler at men. Like that's basically what you're trying to tell guys now. If he's out in public and he sees a woman out and he want to holler at her, he's wrong because he didn't even take a glance at the guy. I'm like, yeah, get out of here. This is why this stuff is backfiring, because it makes no doggone sense. It just doesn't make sense. And that's why I say why blaming black men backfires. And on the flip side, when I talked earlier about the Diddy situation, I thought if y'all feel like Diddy's baby oil and then smashing guys, what happened? Why? Oh, now he's guilty because he's smashing guys now. What are we doing now? What's going on now? Isn't making fun of him lathering up other guys supposed to be homophobic? But it's not now, because he's seen as a heterosexual guy who has some suspect moments, but this whole sexuality thing is starting to backfire, because the issue is worse than the men. The issue is, why y'all peddling this off on kids now? And see, now men saying they don't peddle sexuality off the kids, people were mad at that. Like, you can't tell these kids that that's wrong. It's like, whoa. First of all, whether you're straight or gay, you shouldn't be talking to 6, 7, 8-year-olds about sexuality. That's a problem. That's not, they're not old enough for that. They're not even thinking about that. Why are you pushing that on them? That's when people say you're trying to influence people. So when guys say, nah, we're not doing that. And let me fast forward out of even that part. That's the same thing that fathers be saying when they go, hey, listen. Stop putting my daughter in them clothes. No. She don't need to be in them clothes. She's too young for that. You shouldn't be sexualizing a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old little girl. Shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't have, booty shorts for 10-year-olds. They shouldn't even have that. Same thing you say with the sons. Like, hey, stop putting that boy got a fade. Why you got to don't be putting no bonnet on him. What's wrong with y'all? Stop trying to get these guys' nails done. It starts to backfire because, and this is what I mean by backfire. A lot of times when people think being a man and being masculine or whatever is an issue, and they think, being overly feminine or effeminate, or that's how everybody should be. One of the major things that they forget is one of the traits of the modern society and women is chaos. So now what you get is more chaotic boys and girls. And you can't say and you can't put that on the men, because you wanted the men to, you buffered the situations because it was wrong for men to be, fathers, or men to be uncles, or men to be big brothers, or men to be mentors. And it was wrong for that, right? So now you got all these chaotic kids. And now you're going, hey man, we need your help. It's like too late. Now, let me double back on something else, and then I'm probably gonna get out of here on this. When you see this whole balloon pop show, when you see this whole, I need a guy to make this amount of money and that amount of money, and I need this and I need that, right? This is how blaming black men backfires. It went from, and that's why I said I started with the education thing. These guys ain't making enough money. These guys ain't on my level. To these guys need to take, I don't need a man. I could be independent. That happened. That was an old stereotype. But to now, I need a guy to take care of everything. Everything. I need him to pay all the bills and pay all the car notes and pay this and pay that and pay the same. So it's like, wait a minute now. And why I say it's backfiring is because what you're getting is people say stuff like, I need a man, these men are broke, but I need them to pay for everything. And when they pay for everything, I get to do absolutely nothing for them. So now you're having these conversations and these shows and these challenges and this balloon pop stuff. And it's like the whole, conversation when people say, what are you bringing to the table? And people were getting mad. And it's like, you do realize when you tell a person you are the table, that means everybody else brings something to put on the table, but you. You get what I'm saying? So now you put yourself in these situations where people sometimes get so arrogant and so lost in rhetoric and so lost in these bad beliefs that you don't realize publicly you're saying you're a problem on a normal basis, and you're saying it like it's normal. You're saying and doing stuff like, yeah. Like if I got a job and you got a job, you're going to take care of everything, and I'm going to go do me, and we're going to be in a relationship. And it's like, what? Do you hear yourself? Like, do you hear yourself? So if I make 80,000 and you make 75,000, I got to spend my 80,000 all on you, and you should spend your 70,000 all on you, and we supposed to be in some type of loving relationship. And they go, yeah. It's like, oh my God, you crazy. Like, it's like, oh, okay. So now we're at that point, and it's backfiring. It's backfiring because people are like, I can't justify this stuff. I can't justify it. And let me add just a tinge of information, because I forgot about this. I saw this young brother talking to his father about generational curses, and I just thought about something. I forgot to say this earlier. Black men used to be, considered deadbeat fathers, right? But now we're actually into a generation where, let's just say millennials and Gen Z, where it's really it's more deadbeat moms and kids. What I mean is people have realized that mom's interference became a deadbeat, and the kid siding with mom is a deadbeat. Even with that whole little Umar situation, right? With Umar Johnson situation. I know George don't want me to be on the guy's side. I get it. For the show, you know what, man? Thank you, fam. But Umar said something of, I saw in the video, he said, listen, You were 10 years old and I made you do your homework and you got mad. And you went to your mom. You said, I knew it was going to be a problem from then on. And I hate to break the news to you. I know exactly what that situation is like. I've been in that situation. I've seen other brothers in that situation. Dad's going to discipline the child, or the dad's going to make the child do something that they're uncomfortable doing, or dad's going to actually make a kid do something the right way. And what happens is they go home to mama crying, and mama go, you ain't got to be around them no more. And that's a normal thing, but the kids don't realize how bad it is, because like he said, she was 10. She don't remember that. She 22. She don't remember that. He remember that. The mom remember that, but she don't remember that. And then sometimes these kids do remember when you jog their memory, and they go, oh my God, that I remember that now. It's like, yeah, it was so stupid, wasn't it? So now, like I said, this is when blaming black men backfires, because people start going, wait a minute. It wasn't like it wasn't, the guys my age and older had the stories of I sat on the porch and dad and waited on my dad to pick me up and he never came. And now it's like, no. My dad said he was gonna come pick me up and he came, but we left 30 minutes early. So he was so that's what's going on now. You get what I'm saying? That's what's happening. That's what's been happening for the last 30 something years. So now we have issues. So now, like I said, it's backfiring. And the reason I got to say that part is because of this. I saw this thing about, Gen Z. Some millennials and Gen Zs not wanting to have kids. And I'm getting into this about the black man thing. What a lot of people don't want to hear is, because I see some of the same guys who I've seen a lot of black men on social media who don't have kids, right? Say the same old school rhetoric. These men aren't taking care of their responsibilities. They're taking care of their child. They're getting women pregnant. They're beating women. They're abusive, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's quite funny that a lot of y'all say that y'all have this effeminate undertone and y'all into all of these stereotypes. But how come you don't have no kids? Because if you think the mothers are so good and the women are so good and the fathers are so bad and you don't see yourself as this bad guy, how come you don't have no kids? You know why they don't? Because they know exactly how that situation works with the courts and with the mothers being out of pocket. So they're just saying it for social media clicks. Because all these people who swear, the guys are terrible, the guys are this, that. Like, why don't you have no kids with the women if the women are so good? Because I couldn't imagine not being in my kid's life. I will fight for why come you don't fight for your kid? How come you don't have a kid? Because if you have a kid, let's see how long you fight. Huh? Yeah, exactly. Because what I've known to be true is a lot of the millennials and Gen Zs, they are more like Anthony Edwards than anything. They ain't going to court but a couple times. Look, they go to court 1 or 2 times. I'm done. They might be like, I'm done. You and that kid. They are more like the stereotype than I've seen in my group, because they don't want to play them games. Because I get it. Some of them were the kid that was used as a pawn. They're not trying to go through that. They're not trying to, they like, I'll walk off before that happened. So, and the reason I have to say that is because, why I said, it's backfiring is because where did they get their mentality from? Normally mom. Hate to break the news to you. Normally mom. But I'm gonna shut it down here, fam. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I didn't realize I was doing this for this long. So put out the outro. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
It looks like a job for Superman.
Do this,
Spoken from the lips of the young or the old, fear of me.
Yeah. Gotta put it all in.
And they are Superman.
All the way.
I guess I'm taking off the cake through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I walk, I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you should follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends is Justice League, only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what, we had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps, and me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke, then again it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite, life just ended. You enjoy listening? Man, I'll finish it. Lois, come holler at me. I got an ice couch. Thank you for coming out, listening. I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.